I am not in it right now because I'm an idiot. And here we go.
Is it pinned? Because that would make it very...
It is. It's in the links channel. The links text channel has it in there. Oh, I should turn a light on now that we're on a camera. I'm very prepared for the stream today. It definitely didn't have anything to do with OBS cucking me on how I originally had it set up. Oh. Well, there's light on one half of the room now. Apparently a bulb has gone. I'll solve that problem later.
Wow.
That's a problem for later, Owen.
Yep, future me is gonna hate past me, although current me has been loving past me recently, so maybe he deserves a little bit of annoyance.
What does that feel like?
Sorry?
What does that feel like when you like your past you? Because I always hate mine. He always fucks me over.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is it, right? You know, sometimes current me says stuff, and then future me has to deal with the stuff that I said, but occasionally the past me of current me has already laid the groundwork for current me to put my foot in it, so...
Like you just bumbling out. Yeah, go guard a parade.
Yeah, so today we're going to be guarding a parade, everybody. If nobody recalls, there was an episode last week. You can find that on the YouTube channel, Trials of the Wilds. And today we're going to be doing episode 2, which I have titled The Parade.
Very imaginative.
Last episode was entitled
Crazy.
The Funeral. So... I think we're going with a trend here. I'm just going to do the noun for every episode title, and maybe sometimes it'll just be like the pebble because it was the only thing I could think of, but we'll see.
There's just gonna be 20 episodes that are called The Fight.
I'm just waiting for the climactic moment of all D&D parties called the dog.
I mean, the best part is when I'm going to call the stream the TPK, and it actually happens. I like to try and prophesize a little bit with it, you know?
I thought TPKs were my job.
I mean, no, they're your habit, Trip. They're not your job. They're a hobby. It's what you enjoy doing with your time.
You don't even want to be employed. You just do it for fun.
I mean, I wish I could get paid to do TPKs.
I mean, everybody wishes that. But we're just getting a little organized here. I don't know what's going on with Shelly. Maui's maybe doing something. Maui being the dog. I don't know. We shall see. She'll be back in a moment.
She was never seen from again.
Sit here and get my dice back. That would be oh! She left something in the other room, it appears. And now let's stop talking about her quick.
Damn!
It's a good thing nobody's streaming this and you can't go back to see what we were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, this will be lost for all time and it's not on the internet now forever.
If I forget to transfer the VOD within 3 months, it will be.
That's where you get wireless headphones.
That is indeed why I have wireless headphones. Because I walk away from my desk and then people start talking about me and I'm just like... Just turn on my mic and hear the sound of a kettle rising. Speaking of kettles...
wireless, but they don't work.
That's just sad.
Yeah, it's because our tower PC doesn't have a Bluetooth dongle. Because my husband somehow lost mine. So I can't use the Bluetooth option right now, but that's okay.
You know, there's this great thing called Amazon.
I know.
It's super helpful for situations exactly like this, where there is a small thing that is so insignificant and unimportant that you're not going to go to a shop for it.
Yeah, but it's so insignificant and unimportant because I don't really need it because it works like this that I don't want to pay $10 for it, so.
That's fair. So, let's begin. We start the morning on a bridge that goes from the seat of Jotla. If I can find the right map, here it is. So there's this is the seat of Jotla, this purple bit down here. Let's show the stream as well because I have to remember that scrolling's a thing that has to happen. Good enough. So we're so that's the seat of Jotla. That's where a lot of the sort of council have their houses. Not all of them, but that's sort of the generally like the government area. Think like Westminster in London is the kind of vibe there. Then and there's a bridge that goes just across this point here. And that's where the parade is starting. There's a small stage set up on the seat of Jotla side of the bridge, and people have just kind of swarmed up the bridge, and then they're like spread along the banks of the island there in the province of. Oh no, I don't have any tabs open right now, and it's super annoying. Did I mention that OBS really ruined all of my preparation? Mist Harbor, that's that one. So. Oh, somebody's drawing in the bridge. That's very kind of you. I don't want to commit to where roads are, so I haven't done any for the city yet. And honestly, I'm finding it to be a real experience. It's very freeing not having to deal with roads.
Anyways.
So people are lining the banks of the island of Mist Harbor, looking upon the bridge where the stage is set up. And right now there's a woman who's walking up to the front of the stage, and she's dressed very nicely. She's a female human, looks to be late 50s, early 60s, late 60s, somewhere in that region. She kind of looks like she hit an age and then she just hasn't kind of changed for a while, but you get the impression that she's pretty old. I mean, that this is the parade to honor 20 years of having the parade. In fact, it is the 20th anniversary of this particular parade, a tradition that started when she joined the council. And she's stepping up to the microphone, and she sort of does a little towards the crowd, and you can hear her voice has been magically amplified. There's a small tech wizard at the side who's holding a little wand and kind of looking nervous, and is got a couple of minions running back and forth collecting things. Looks like some kind of a stage manager. There's always a production behind these things. Yeah.
So in good tech person tradition, he looks super stressed as well, I imagine.
So very stressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So. And he's got a couple of hourglasses on a small table next to him that he's sort of flipping over at different points. And there's as she steps up, she makes the little throat clearing sound, and the crowd that's been kind of singing. There's been some chants going on, and there's some songs of local sports teams, that kind of thing. And that kind of dies away. And as it dies away, there's the flash of the sparks and sort of like almost like a WWE walk-on, of just like a magical illusion exploding behind her, getting everybody's attention. And she steps up to the edge of the stage, and she folds one hand over the other and looks out upon the crowds. And for a moment, everybody feels like they've got their eyes on them. And she says, "Jotlerandans, Jotlerians, Puppingtonians, even Maranowans. It's been 20 years since I joined the council in serving you all, and my first act was to organize a parade to praise and remember all those who have served before me. As I stand here today, it seems somewhat self-serving to still be organizing a parade in honor of the council, but my belief that we should look to the past to learn has not been diminished. My belief that we must look out for each other always, in good times and hard, despite class or race or creed. The values this council transformed the city with must hold true. Everyone has a right to privacy, a space of their own. Everyone can worship any gods they choose, so long as that worship does not impact their neighbor. Everyone has the right to call what's theirs, theirs. Everyone has the right to be protected and also to protect. The Phoenix Watch could not have risen from the ashes of corruption and nepotism if the Council of Jotle had not formed for one reason and one reason only, to say enough is enough. It has been 156 years since that day to the day. I stand before you, as my husband did, to reavow the promise I made 20 years ago. I will watch for you. I will guard against these values eroding away. And there's a brief pause. And everything is just quiet right now. And she makes this small smile. Now go! Enjoy the parade, the food. Look out for your children, making your wallet lighter. Stay awake during my colleagues' speeches. And never forget, I will be here if you need me. And the crowd just kind of erupts into laughter and cheering, and this kind of magical darkness falls upon the front of the stage, and it's when it lights back up, she's not there anymore, and they at that point there's a fanfare, and you hear behind the crowds the parade starting to form up with a marching band in the front and all these carts that are decorated, and there's children doing dancing and stuff as they go along. They're going to be tired by the time the day's out. They don't know what they're signing up for. Those little Baden guys, they think they spend half an hour every week doing it, and they're like, yeah, let's do 3 hours while walking. It's never going to work. You guys are currently lining up the bridge, and you're essentially begarbed in the ceremonial armor that they've given you all. Doesn't provide any change. It's not. No, it doesn't provide any kind of statistics changes, mainly because I can't be bothered to track that. And it's essentially just like it's more of a uniform than armor, I should say. It's very ceremonial, very sort of. You're just a part of a group that's sort of walking point with the parade, and it's expected to take about 2 to 3 hours to get to its final destination in Upper Verza Square in Gadolid, which is the next province over. So let me just make sure that everybody can see. Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. There we go. So this is Gadolid here, and this is roughly where the parade is going to end. So it's going to trace out this whole journey, sort of from along here and across here and up there and through here, and all the streets are decorated and there's bunting everywhere, and everybody's very excited, and it feels like a holiday. It's citywide holiday, you get the impression this might be the largest holiday of the year for the city. It's like the 4th of July in the US. So the parade begins to move, and you guys are marching along, and there's not much for you to do, so you can engage in idle conversation and look around you. You're not required to be with the parade at all times, but there are people going around and sort of checking that there's still, a visible, like, oh yeah, we're going with the parade. And it seems like a very informal affair, to be honest, where everybody's just kind of focused on having a good time. What would you guys like to do?
Alison's just looking very uncomfortable with this entire thing. Just with the incredible amount of people and movement, and as a tiefling, you can see with like kind of twitchy tail movement, looking around.
Yeah, I mean, you're actually in a pretty good spot if you don't want to be in a crowd, because you're in the least crowded part of anywhere right now. And
there's still more people than I'd like.
That's true. The costume is helping, though. People are giving you a berth. You're there as a visible presence to support the Phoenix Watch, which is the sort of guard / army of Yodeler.
Like, so for anyone who's watching with a modicum of passive insight, it will be very clear that Alison is spending just about every last bit of self-control to not bamf into a squirrel or a weasel or other small furry animal and run away.
Bethorin is enjoying themselves. And like, oh yeah, it's pretty good. I like this. People are having fun. How are you guys? Also, what is the name of that person that held the speech?
That was
Anybody know
Count
that?
Maudlin. She was introduced as.
Oh, Count.
Sorry,
Maudlin.
Countess Maudlin. Count Maudlin was her husband.
Okay, thank you.
You're most welcome. How's our Loxodon doing?
Well, I was wondering if you found a uniform that will actually fit.
Yeah, some wizard just went rip, and it was bigger. It was crazy.
I just hope that doesn't run out like midway through.
It's gonna be
the
very
parade.
awkward.
No, they were
Embarrassing.
literally one size fits all. And there's also a couple of Goliaths walking point in here, and there's all kinds of people around. Like you've yet to see a race where you've only seen one of them. You know.
Including Loxodons?
Okay, fair point. Loxodon, that might be the only one that you've only seen one of. If it wasn't for the trunk with the robes, kind of Goliathy.
Imagine them to be a bit wider than Goliaths, but fair enough.
Well, I imagine Goliaths with a heavy diet would also be a bit wider.
Fair.
They're not all trim barbarians leaping about the battlefield.
That is fair.
Does anything look suspicious?
Make a perception check.
Oh yeah, I'm not very good at this one, but hey, a 12.
A 12. Looking around, you're sort of... Steve, you're a little bit bored. You were thinking, oh, you know, like this is something to do. Like Carol said it'd be a good gig. Use the money always. It's a chance to like get out and about and have an excuse to talk to people, which, you know, you want to do. But with the people giving you a little bit of a berth with the costume that you're wearing and the, you know, maybe a little bit of like, I don't really want to just go and approach people like everyone's having fun. You know, that whole element of it as well.
Mm.
So you're looking around, like, is there anything suspicious? And everything looks totally fine. And nothing looks suspicious at all. And it's just kind of dragging a little bit now.
Is there any? Sorry, go for it.
Can I look around to see if there's any like food vendor?
Oh yeah,
that I can
yeah,
see?
like everybody that
That's where I
could,
was going.
everybody that could possibly like move any element of a kitchen onto this path that the parade is taking has done so, and is doing a
Perfect.
roaring trade. And you don't know how any of this food is going to last the sort of masses of people. Like, there's a lot of people. People turn out for this.
Nice. I would like to just go over and buy some candy floss and some candied apples or something like that, like caramelized apples.
Yeah, absolutely, easy enough. So, you know, 3 silver, and that's done and dusted.
Nice. And I go back over and I hand Steve some of the candy floss and I give Alyssum one of the caramelized apples. I'm like, what? This is great.
I'm a one hand have the candy floss and use the trunk to get it into my mouth.
Nice. I don't know whether I would want to like accidentally breathe in candy
And
floss
then,
though.
yeah, no. I was thinking I might get a bit like.
That's a sugar rush.
It turns out Loxodon snorting candy floss is basically is a very different thing.
Oh my god, the sugar!
It's just like catnip. It's just snorting catnip, but for Loxodon.
Yes.
It's their size. They can't handle the increased blood pressure. So you guys are moving with the parade for about 45 minutes or so. Just to let you know as well, Andrew and Carol, they were assigned to a different area, so it's just the 4 of you guys. And you're sort of going along, and you're quite near the head of the parade. So that's nice, because at least don't have the you can glance back and kind of see the spectacle, as it were. Like, no parade looks good from the back. Parades look good from the front. You always want a parade to be coming towards you. And so you're able to like glance over and see the various bards and whatnot, and people are playing music, and there's some like low-key magic stuff happening, nothing like too fancy. The stuff at the stage was like way higher than anything else you've seen sort of on the parade itself. And you're taking them through and just heading through, and you're about like maybe an hour and a half now, and it's, your feet are starting to get a little tired and starting to get a little weary. And you guys see a small area, and a couple of guys jump up, and there's a gal in there as well. The four of them jump up and they sort of wave to you and said, "Oh, if you want to take a break, there's a wee rest spot just here. We'll cover this spot for you." And there's this seems to be like a sort of nice little midpoint on the journey, and there's it's a little bit of a more open square. You're quite close to the you've just gone over the bridge into Gadolid, so it's a slightly more upmarket area. Rent's higher. Buildings have a little bit more room to breathe. There's a little more open space. Roads are wider, and there's a few more squares and things. And it's in one of these squares that this has happened. And there's quite a few like sort of carnival games and that kind of thing. There's an arm wrestling competition happening. There's some people doing magic tricks, like actual mechanical magic tricks, and yeah, I mean, there's just a bunch of fun stuff going on. People throwing coconuts. Somebody's trying to tip an elf into a bucket. There's lots of stuff happening. But you guys are welcome to just keep walking with the parade if you don't want to take a break.
I want to play some games. Anybody up for some games? Steve, you're going to play some games, right? I mean, there's an arm wrestling competition. Maybe they will let you use your trunk as the arm wrestling competition, or if it's unfair otherwise, because you're very big and I suspect very strong, so.
I would think that we've been employed to guard here would mean we need to, stay devoted to guarding. Now, I'm happy
You're
for you
no
to go
fun.
off, but I will be staying with the parade.
Oh.
I'll come along with you.
Yay!
Awkwardly
Oh.
shuffles over.
Overexcited.
Like has only at this point has only gotten about a third of the way through the candied apples.
Yeah, I'm going to go over and see what games there are.
And how does Asdar feel about this? Is he gonna stick with the parade, or
He's gonna stay with Steve. He's kind of daydreaming the whole time.
I figured, yeah, he's just staring into space.
He's making some weird expression. It looks like he's in some kind of fantasy.
Like, honestly, he's ideal for the job. Like, he'll just keep walking in the direction that you point him in,
Exactly.
and he was there to look the part. So, mission accomplished. All right, so you guys who stick with the parade, you just keep walking with it, and you guys who stick around to try out the games, there's you're just sort of watching the parade go through the square, and you're like, this is going on for how long is this? As it's still
The
just
last people where we started just starting to walk forwards.
yeah, I mean, it's a pretty slow moving
Obviously,
affair, and there's like decent distance between the think like the Disneyland parade, but it's
That was in my head.
yeah, that's it, exactly. That's just that kind of constant like and so you're expecting that same kind of effect that you get with the Disney parade, where like each little section kind of moves with itself, like the music follows it round and all that kind of stuff. But this thing's just huge, like it just keeps going. There's just new stuff coming through. It's amazing what you can do with a cart and some wood. Is what you're discovering. What games do you want to try? Looking around.
What games were there? I forgot.
Well, there's a bunch of stuff. There was an arm wrestling competition, tipping an elf in a bucket. There was some magic tricks.
Yeah, the elf bucket thing.
The elf bucket
that's not
thing.
Strength. Anything not strength based.
Okay, so
That's my worst stat.
so you spot an elf who's
a
sort
shelf?
of pretty much, yeah. And got his hair is very tightly slicked back at this point, and he's still dripping a little bit from the last time. And it's not water by the looks of things. You're not really sure what it is, but it's got this kind of like green, oozy nature to it, and it's kind of a weird substance that you haven't seen before. But you know, there's kids that are like grabbing little bits that have like splashed off and stuck on things, and kind of rolling it in their hands and making little balls and throwing it at each other and stuff. And yeah, it's just a lot of merriment while a lot of parents look exasperated.
Nickelodeon slime.
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
And it's a very simple puzzle. You get given a hard ball, and you throw it at a paddle, and if the paddle tips over, it tips over a counterbalance, and the elf falls in the bucket. And it's a large bucket in this case. You wanna?
Can I win anything with this except for throwing an elf into slimy bits?
So it doesn't appear anybody's running this.
Oh, it's just
It's the elf.
on a shelf.
So he's there, and he's like, yeah. It's 2 silver to have a go. You get 3 tries to drop me in the slime. Just pop the coins in the box there. There's a little box with a coin slot on it.
All right.
You pop your 2 silver in.
I pop 3 in.
Oh, okay. And you pick up your 3 balls. They're kind of they're like softball sized. There's a very, very small squish at the edges, but it feels like it's a soft layer over a hard core. They feel pretty nice. Make an attack roll with your dex.
Oh. With my dex. Do I get proficiency in this?
No, it's an improvised weapon.
Ah, damn. Do I have proficiency?
And unless you have proficiency in a weapon with a ball involved.
Like a flail?
What weapon would that be?
Exactly. Well, I mean, the shot put originally was a weapon.
That's
a yo-yo,
12
so...
then.
12?
I rolled a 9.
Oof. Yeah, so you see a look of relief cross the elf's face. As this ball slams into the thing behind it. And it falls into a little basket and rolls out of a little chute and just comes back round to the front. It's a very it's clearly set up so that they could just put a guy on the thing and he just tells them how much it is and gets dunked.
Yeah. Yeah, it
And
sounds like the same that happened to us just happened to him.
And there's 2 towels that are just like drenched in this green crap that are just on a shelf behind him.
God, the poor bastard. I feel so bad. I do it again. 13.
13. Just skims over the top this time. He looked a little worried for a second. Pretty close.
I feel kind of bad for you, but I also really want to dunk you in, so sorry. And I throw the last one.
Yep.
No, even worse. Even worse.
How much worse?
11 total.
11. Oh, okay. So
yeah, I rolled
over
9,
5.
8.
As long as it was over 5. I didn't think it could be below 5, but over 5 is fine. So, so this ball, this kind of softball thing. It actually does hit the thing, but you were trying so hard with the aim that you didn't give it the power required, and it just kind of bounces off. And he goes, so close. Welcome to try again.
I put in 3 more silver.
Okay.
But I
Oh yeah, sure, go ahead. I put in 6 for each of us.
All right.
So I pay for you.
This guy is making bank.
Yeah, I'll just very carefully pick up one of these balls.
Yeah.
Look, yeah, like I don't know what to do. I'm just following Felrin's lead here. Like
Mhm.
I so out of my depth. I'm just following the lead of the very excitable elf.
Yep, that makes sense.
So, tackle with X.
Yep.
20 plus your dex, yeah.
So I rolled a 2, so that's a 1.
Oh! So, Elysim, you step up and you pick up a ball. You goes,
Oh no.
"Do you think you're better than your friend?" And you line up your arm, and you're doing that thing where you got like one arm out in front, you got the ball behind you, and you're lining it up, and you throw it, and you just hook it real hard, you know, and it just takes the guy in the face, and he just
That's to be accepted. That's to be expected.
and he tips over, and there's a moment where you see the counterweight start to shift, and then it all settles back down. And he doesn't quite fall in.
Sorry.
You almost got him though. But I
If you'd like to roll a d4 for me,
to
He's gonna take damage.
you got hit in the face by a hard, but you've been hit in the face by a softball
is this
before,
plus
right?
my dex mod?
No.
So mean.
Okay. So he takes 4 points of damage.
And he's looking a little dazed from that, slightly cross-eyed. So close.
Sorry.
so, sorry, buddy.
You lose a ball for that, but you got one left.
That's
Okay.
fair. That's fair.
And he's
And
sort
this
of like doing that slight sway.
Try to get the wooden shield this time. Think the game's supposed to work
That's-
like that?
That's what I was
Just
aiming
saying.
for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a
Okay, I'll
great
try to-
shot if you weren't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are only two kinds of legendary shot in D&D, those achieved by natural 20s and those achieved by natural 1s.
This wasn't even a natural 1. This
No,
was a
but
2.
it was still a 1.
Reduced to a 1.
All
If I
right,
rolled a nat 1, it will be even better.
final
That's a
ball.
12.
12.
Yeah.
This time you do nearly hit the shield. Just misses. He's, hey. At least you got the direction down. Next time you can work on the distance.
Just
And he's
moves-
sort of
moves
staring
back
at Featherin and sort of doing the.
I take a bullet, throw it.
to-
Yeah, oh man, 14?
14.
Yeah.
It's not quite enough. Again,
Listen.
hits the paddle,
Nice.
but just skips off. You just hit it with that had maybe like a little bit too much spin or something. It skids off. So close.
I feel so bad for you. I didn't
And
even
he's
want to fall in. Want you to fall in anymore, but
I don't want to
now
fall
it's
in.
a
Just
thing
miss
about
on
pride.
purpose.
No, it's so bad. 7.
And the ball just flies past into the netting behind and falls down into that little chute, and you hear the as it comes back.
I'm over invested now. This is why it doesn't work. 21. We're the last one.
And this ball rolls to a stop against a little thing, and you pick it up and you look at it, and you look at the elf, and he goes, "Oh no!"
Yeah.
And your
This
arm
time,
snaps
no.
out, and this ball just sails straight through. Could you roll a d4 for me?
Oh,
Oh no.
yeah. I'm just gonna
We
break
might
the
knock the
shield,
man
aren't I?
unconscious there.
Guy.
This poor guy.
Okay.
Oh, 4.
Oh.
Amazing. You hit the target so dead center that you actually hit exactly where it's bolted on. And you hit, and you just see this like little metallic thing go pling out the back, and the shield falls off the thing. The counterbalance is already gone, and the elf is like falling at this point. You just spot this at the corner, yeah. So he's falling into the goo with his face. Just the very much I don't wanna face. And Yeah, the contraption looks a little broken, and he lands in the goo, and there's this kind of like squelch, but it's definitely followed by a thud. There's not enough goo in this bucket.
Oh.
He wasn't that high up, but you know, you can't know exactly. It's bad. And he gets back up, and he looks at the thing, and he looks at you, and he just mouths, "Thank you," and he just mouths, "Thank you." And jumps over the side, grabs the towels, and literally sprints into an alley and starts rubbing himself furiously.
Before he goes, I just want to kind of like take one of my gold coins and just pep it on the goo that's all over, and I'm like, sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of goo on him, and he does not notice.
Well, he would find it in his towel, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You would hear it, ting, 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 ting. Oh. But yeah,
He deserves it. Poor bastard. So that was fun.
Was it?
Was it not? Did you not have fun? Do you want to try something else?
If you, I don't really get all of this.
Oh, me neither. Isn't it fun? It's so weird too. We don't have this in America. Well, not like this anyway. It's more like, oh, somber. Oh, think of all the trees and all the birds and stuff like that.
I know what the parade is, but this is a very new experience.
It's great. Well, maybe we should join back. I mean, we do get paid for a job to do, you know.
Right.
Okay. I guess we'll join back in the parade.
You turn back to the parade just in time to see these two young girls doing cartwheels and somersaults all the way along the square while a crowd goes, "Whoa!" And then one of them jumps 12 feet up in the air and just does a really slow, it's a special kind of backflip called a moonflip for those aficionados out there, with her feet almost touching the back of her head. And just lands into a roll, springs up out of the roll into a diving, well, for the aficionados out there, it's called a butterfly twist, but essentially turns sideways and spins this way. And lands back on their feet and begins doing cartwheels again. The other one does the same thing, but facing backwards the whole time. And then they sort of carry on through. And that was just this weird break in the parade, and then then it's more carts coming through, and you sort of join up with that group there. Do you pass on the message that this is a sort of expected break point to the other people fulfilling the role that you are?
Sure. Yeah. If we see them, we'll go over. And
Yeah,
like,
there's two half
just have a
orcs.
break if you want one. I mean,
Oh god, yes, this
slimy
is so
bucket
boring. I'm so
thing.
bored. Like, it wouldn't be so bad. I thought we were going to be standing in one place and like watch the parade go by, but you just see the same thing over and over and over and over again. Why are we walking there? Wouldn't it make sense if we all just had like a spot? Oh man.
We look great walking in the parade, though.
That is, oh yeah, I didn't consider the visual. Oh, Fred, why didn't you say that? And Fred looks over and he's like, why am I supposed to think of everything, Sydney? And you see a bit of a resemblance between these guys. They might be brothers, maybe cousins. And they just go off, and they just walk off bickering. You see?
The slide thing is broken, though. Sorry. Sorry. Okay.
As they're going past them, we'll just hand each of them a white poppy.
Sydney? Yeah, Fred? Did she hand you a white poppy? Yes, Fred. She gave one to me too. Is that right, Sydney? Why'd she give them to us?
I love these guys.
They're great. Sitting in Fred.
And so you continue on to the parade and you catch back up to Upper Versla Square, where the parade kind of stacks up and awkwardly ends and goes off into side streets, and there's kind of like a couple of different areas where stuff gets broken down, because this is also like the end of the parade, so there's like a big stage here as well, kind of a similar thing to what you had before. Upper Versla Square is like the upmarket area of the city. It's very much a what's the word? It's like a destination shopping area, you know? Like, it's the kind of place that you'll travel to. It's, I'm trying to think of analogs for it, but if you live anywhere in the city and, you know, you got a bonus at work and you're like, maybe we'll get like a few nice things for the house, or maybe we'll get some nice clothes or something. Like, you just want to have like that day of like, we're probably spending a bit more than we can afford, but, you know, we deserve it. This is the area that you go to. People travel from all over the country to go to here. And so,
High Street.
yeah, it's, I mean, honestly, like probably a huge amount of the sort of social mobility that's available in Jotler is down to this area existing and people aspiring to it, you know. So that's where the parade is ending, and you catch up to Steve and Asdar. Asdar still sort of gazing off into middle distance, maybe even walking on the spot. I'm really not sure with this character yet.
I'll just like to point out that from that break point to the end of the parade is just an esoteric trail of flowers following Allison. Has just been super nervous, and to try to calm her nerves, she's just doing crafted flowers.
That's
The
find
whole
something to do.
time.
Find something to do with your hands. Absolutely. I mean, I sit here and fiddle with a deck of cards most of the time. So.
Where's he getting the flowers from?
As the new flower just grows off the staff.
Oh, Steve, you really missed it. We played some of the games. Well, one of the games. Well, I broke the game, but still, it was so much fun. Poor bastard. I threw him into slime. Well, I didn't really throw him. I threw a ball and then he fell into slime, but still.
I hit him in the face.
You took a break from the guard to assault someone? Is that what you're saying? And you had fun about it?
No, we played a game. He got paid for it. And then I broke the game and he was so thankful that he didn't have to do it anymore. So I saved him, basically.
Just a thumbs up from Steve as he kind of
With his trunk.
Yeah, how do you shrug with a trunk? So you guys are all gathered around, and you're chatting for a little bit and catching up, and Featherin's rabbiting on about what else happened, and you know, other things that they saw as they were moving through the city. And then there's a loud noise from the stage. Your attention's drawn there, and this light goes up, and there's a small man stood there with a little hat on, and he steps up. Oh, well, this is a bad time to BRB.
Just assume that my character's not paying attention.
No worries. And he steps up, and he waves a hand towards his throat, and says, "Greetings, fine folk. I hope you enjoyed your stroll along the cleanest streets of our city, and thanked those poor sods with the shovels that made them so. 20 years already, eh? Seems like we've hardly been doing this parade for any time at all. Good old Countess Maudlin. She really knows how to give us all something we care about, doesn't she?" And he's sort of expecting a response from the crowd, and the crowd, you know, they cheer. And he's He's an interesting guy. He's just stood very still on the stage, like he's not moving around, he's not fidgeting, he's just... It feels like all of his attention is on this moment and what he's saying, and this is important. And it's really sucking the crowd in, you know, like they're not being drawn in by anything more than just like sheer presence. I have to say, I'm somewhat speechless when I think of the things that our nation has achieved. I've been serving this city and this nation for 30 years. Well, 33, but who's counting? And in all my time, I have never known such a time of prosperity. Trade is booming. We have the prospect of new relations with Claria, assuming the Western Road can get resolved. Ica Arlsera, not really outstripping us quite so much as before, eh? And he opens his arms and the crowd again, you're like, ah, fuck him, ah. And he steps right up to the edge of the stage. And he waves his hands in the air. And makes a phoenix appear in the clouds above everybody in the square. I hope you've all had a wonderful day. And he steps off the stage. And everyone's just kind of... It's very Bilbo at the beginning of Lord of the Rings. Everyone's like, wait, was that it? Is there another thing? Appears that was it.
So that was weird. Who's that guy?
Anybody want to make a history check to see if they know who that guy was?
Yeah,
He wasn't
sure.
introduced.
I'm pretty certain I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I won't know, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a 3, so he's just some dude to me.
I mean, I'm pretty certain that due to backstory reasons, I've no basis of knowing this.
I mean,
So,
you've been in the city for more than a day. You could have potentially heard of this guy that's
Okay,
on the
okay,
one of
I
the
can go
rulers,
with
you
say
know,
that.
maybe seen a newspaper or something.
What I'd like to know is if
Fucking
I
hell,
could...
yes I know who it is. 26.
26. You heard of this guy, actually. This might be the only person you know the name of in the city, and you don't even know his name, but he's referred to as the Magistrate.
That's the magistrate.
Hmm.
I just say to my confused companions.
Sorry, my face is. But Featherin's face is.
Yeah.
Okay. Weird fella.
Jelly has more meta context for this.
Shit.
Did I detect any malice in that speech?
Make an insight check.
I think I would like to join that actually. Can I give.
Carry on. Anyone who
Sorry.
wants to make an insight check, feel free.
I got a 4, so...
I was very weirded out by him. He was very weird.
Oh, no, don't. Well, that's an 11, so I doubt that will help.
Dirty 20.
He meant every word that he said.
That's ominous.
hmm
I mean, of
He
course
did not
did.
technically lie.
Yeah.
Shall we go to the dwarf and collect the money?
Good idea. Yeah.
So you want to look for the dwarf?
Yes.
Or do you want to look around the parade stuff a little bit more?
Yeah,
I mean,
there's some more
probably some
games and
more
things up here.
games.
There's this like little jousting mini game that's set up. It's like You know how like mini golf is to golf? This is like the jousting version. So you have like a little hobby horse that has a little lance coming off the front of it, and you have to like run a course and like knock little things off shelves and stuff. Hop over things.
That seems great. I want to do that. I just grab the nearest person to me and try to drag them with me, and I'm like, oh, look at this!
All right.
Allison.
I stand still.
Roll 1d3.
I mean, I'm just gonna say for the record that Allison will just try to stick near Featherin because it's it's the most familiar looking person.
Allison gets dragged along with Featherin then.
Yeah.
Steve, come on this time! You're gonna miss all the fun! It's over, you're allowed to have fun now!
So you sprint
I
the
guess
120 feet across the courtyard.
Yeah, I'm pretty
I'm just being
fucking fast.
dragged at this point.
Steve's gonna come with just to make sure there's no one getting assaulted this time.
So this
Asda. Is Asda paying attention? Sorry.
Did you call him?
Yeah. Asda.
He's
What?
yeah, something like that. He's gonna snap back into reality.
Snap back.
I was paying attention. What? It's the parade started.
Yeah, he'll come along.
All right. So you you guys all wander over to this jousting thing, and Featherin's wake because she cuts just a streak of black and white across the courtyard.
Yeah.
And you come skidding to a stop in this line, and there's like 3 14-year-olds in front of you waiting for their turn. You sort of stood there.
Hello! How does this work?
We don't know yet. We haven't had the rules.
Great! Me neither!
And they all look kind of weirded out.
Good reason.
And there's a little like stranger danger, and they sort of all like turn in and huddle towards each other.
I'm just standing there looking at the people
Like,
who.
do you think
playing.
it's feasible at this point that they've managed to just put the stick of flowers somewhere on Featherin?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like you could have had so many opportunities to do that during the whole parade, and I doubt Featherin would have cared or noticed.
Okay.
Noticed, maybe. Cared? Hell no. Flowers are great.
Everything is great.
So
Oh,
you have
that's
a love and a mist flower just somewhere on you now.
So you watch these 3 lads get taken up, and they will get given a hobby horse, and basically the way it's set up is it's 3 identical tracks, like alongside, so 3 people can run the course at a time. Doesn't really look big enough for a Loxodon. You know, this isn't really for adults. This is more aimed at like the younger half of teens, you know.
Featherin does not notice.
And no, I'm aware, but but I'm just giving you guys an idea of like the scale that you're expecting here. And after they've gone through the course, and the shorter one wins, and he's like, ah. And the other 2 just look at him like, yeah, all right, give it a rest. And they go off to get ice cream or whatever it is that, like, you know, early teens do.
Great. That was great. You both did super well. Is it my turn now?
Sort of.
Alison, are you gonna come with? Steve, are you gonna go with? Are you playing? I can pay.
And there's this lanky high elf that stood there.
Hello.
I'm not really sure this is for you.
Why not?
I'm trying to think of a reason.
So you don't really have one, so you're gonna let me play?
I think it's going to save a lot of time if I just say yes.
So you just said yes. So yes.
He's just narrowing his eyes at you.
I grab one of the horses. How does this work?
All right, it's 1 gold for all 3, or 4 silver each. Who else is taking up a hobby horse?
I'm gonna pay the gold, and I look around for the others to join, or at least someone to join.
I mean, I'm right behind you, so.
Yeah, perfect.
Azar also right behind you, but by mistake.
Yep.
Mm,
You look
I
kind of
just
surprised
dragged
as a
into
hobby
this.
horse is pushed
He's
into your
kind of facing
hands
the-
and you're kind of shuffled into a gate.
Yeah.
He's facing the wrong way. He's
Yeah, and they've really done a number with the gates, you know, like there's a little lever he can pull at the side that drops them down so that you can go, and it's made to look like a horse race, and you're all stood there and you're getting ready, and he says, the rules are simple. The winner gets a coupon for anything they'd like from a food stand. Coming first means you're likely to win, but everything you knock off is a penalty, and whoever has the most penalties automatically comes last. So careful but quick is the name of the game. Dunk! Just opens the thing. Everybody roll an initiative check.
-1, here we go. That's actually reasonably good.
Dirty 20 again.
oh,
18.
Ooh.
14, did you say, Elizabeth?
Yes.
Okay, so Featherin, you just jump out of the gate, leaping forwards. Asda, you're
I
like,
mean,
what?
was
And
right.
you see them go and just instinctive follow. And Elizabeth, you sort of the thing drops down, and you look up and see everybody going, oh, and catch on. The first thing, there's each of you has a small beanbag on a shelf that you have to try and knock off without knocking off the little cans next to it. There's this very clearly marked beanbag that you have to hit. Roll a strength check.
Uh-oh.
This is gonna be great.
natural 20.
Oh. Not far behind you.
19.
In the meantime, I rolled a 13, -3. So that's a 10.
Oh no.
You manage not to knock anything off, but you don't get the beanbag. And you're Featherin, you're just like, dong, and continue on. Asda, pretty much the same thing. Not quite as slick. Like, it's not just such a fluid motion as it was with Featherin, but you get the target real good, and you don't hit any cans. And you continue on around the course. The next thing, there's a little jump that you need to make. Everyone make an athletics check.
God.
Oh, I'm bad at
It's
this.
really hard to actually jump over anything when you're riding a hobby horse. I don't know whether that's something that you've tried before.
I can confirm.
What are these rolls?
Yeah.
My strength is 10.
Hey, that's
Same.
double my strength.
I also have a strength of 10. I got a 3.
Hey!
Hey. I got a 12.
Okay, so with the 19, you hop over it, no problem. Elizabeth, you hop over it, but you get caught on it a little bit, and you're still, you're picking up the rear. Featherin, you eat shit.
I just imagine you're running with the hobby horse, and
Straight
you
into
don't
it.
jump at all. And
Yeah.
just
Yeah, you're just
Full
going too
strength.
quickly. Like you do jump, but the jump that you do is just kind of lifting your feet slightly higher because you're trying to be as quick as possible, and your feet catch it and you go tumbling over. Make a dex save.
Oh god. The dirty 20.
Dirty 20. You realize your mistake right as you're falling. You're able to use the hobby horse to sort of, you prop it on the ground just for a second to catch your weight and change your direction of momentum and manage not to knock over the tower of cans on the other side of the jump.
Oh boy.
But you do
So,
lose
like-
some time, and Asdar is in the lead now. You're only just ahead of Elizabeth. So you got to hit another beanbag
They're
now
really
on a
running.
shelf. So strength check from everybody.
Oh, another one? Oh no. Oh,
That's more what I was expecting
Oh.
for this.
15.
That's more appropriate.
What did you get, Shelley?
15.
Okay. And
I
Trip?
got a 6.
6. So
It's
the course curves round a little bit, and this course is following an alley, by the way. So it kind of loops around and comes back on itself. So so this is just after the U bend at the end. So you're halfway through, and you come round the corner, and there's a target right there, and you try to snap a reaction and hit it. And Asda, you're on the outside edge, on the right hand side, and you just like scrape your lance all over the wall, and it's like splintering up at the end, and then it just starts to bend as your momentum comes round, and you're kind of leaning in that direction as well, and all your weight's suddenly on this lance, and it just snaps and splinters go everywhere, and you go flying on the floor. Take a point of damage.
That's fair.
Trip, what did you get?
6.
6. So you're in the middle track. So you don't have any walls to contend with, but there is a railing there as you come around the corner and you go for this and you go for this beanbag that's on the shelf. You nearly snag it, but you end up just wiping out these 3 cans that are on the left side of it. Featherin, you said it was a dirty 20?
No, 15.
Oh, 15. Sorry.
Yeah, 15.
There's been so many dirty 20s that honestly I'm just assuming that's all you can roll now. So 15, and you come skidding around the corner, and your eyes lock onto the target. No problem. You catch the shelf a little bit, and you panic, but you just manage to lift it just in time to not hit any of the cans, and you're on your way again, and you're running. And you managed to get ahead of Asda. Surprise!
As he face planted as I
And you're opening up your lead on Allison. And Asda, you're kind of picking yourself back up. And you're just sort of looking down at your lance. What would you like to do?
He's gonna quickly and discreetly, at least attempting to prestidigitate all the dirt from off of him.
Yeah. So you just stood there just doing the magical equivalent of...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're glad that you're deep in an alley when this happened. And the other two, you're going forward. There's one more jump to make, and this time there's a target that you can try and hit at the same time as making the jump. So you make an athletics check for the jump, and then you can make a dex check to try and hit this target. There's no cans near it or anything. It's just a case of just getting on target.
Do we do the jump first?
Athletics check first.
Athletics.
Because if this goes badly, there is no going for the target for you.
Plus 0. I got a 12 for the athletics check.
Okay.
Hopefully
Allison?
that's well enough.
I got a 14 for the athletics check.
14. All right.
Yeah,
So
I
you're
rolled
both...
Really well.
Yeah, doing fine. You just hop over the course and you're running forward. And who wants to go for the target while they're doing that?
I'll try.
Okay, make a dex check.
I don't think I hit it. That's a 3.
Okay. And Featherin?
I rolled a 14.
Okay, so you
don't
managed to
think
get
that's
the target. So you're fine and you're free and clear and you're sprinting towards the finish. And there's no more obstacles in your way. You're home and clear. If you could just beat Allison in this last stretch. Allison, what did you roll? You said a 3 for your dex check?
Yes.
So you get the height necessary to clear the obstacle. But the coordination of trying to get this target and also rearrange your feet, and you've got this pole sticking between your legs, and it's just all a bit awkward, and you kind of get tangled up with which limb is doing what, like in your brain, you know, like when you do this thing with your hands and then you try and figure out which finger is which. It's
the tail does not help with
The
this
tail
at
does
all.
not help. It keeps wrapping around the hobby horse, and it's super annoying. And if you could figure out how to like help you with that, then that would be great. But you just never quite did, and you just tangle up and you roll out. Make a dex save for me.
I'm so good at these. That's another 3.
Another 3. Yeah, you roll out and you're just sprawled on the floor, and there's no hope now. And Featherin, you just dive through the finish. First place.
Yay! Where are you? Oh no! Oh.
Yeah, you see Asdar's just like trying to get this like crap off his cloak, and Alisum's just flat on her back.
No,
Hobby horse at the
this
side.
point, where Alison was, there is just the uniform costume we got,
Yeah.
and there's a little weasel clawing its way out. It's like, no, this is enough. Weasel time.
Oh no! Sorry. I won though. Can I have that prize?
I want to
Yes.
charge up to the owner and be like, "You just turned my friend into a weasel." No, what kind of obstacle course is this? I didn't know there would be shapeshifting involved. I'm quite pissed, so I'm going to be talking quite fast.
I'm sorry, could I have that again? Perhaps slightly slower and less Irish?
I don't know what you're talking about Irish, and I don't know what you're talking about fast now. You gotta have to explain there. What kind of obstacle turns my friends into weasels? I know one of them survived, but only one of them's come out.
One of your friends turned into a weasel?
We'll have a look there now.
And he just kind of looks over.
Now, what kind of sick trick is this?
At this point, you probably just see the empty clothes. Just in the middle of the track.
Yeah, he just looks very
Weasel's gone.
confused, and he's looking up at this Loxodon, and he's like, how does this A and this B make me C? He's flummoxed. He doesn't know how to react. He's just kind of.
Yeah.
I take
I'm
my
sorry, you believe
bracelet out
I'm
of his hand.
responsible?
Shame on you, really. I mean,
You took your
and I
coupon.
walk off.
Did you
Yeah,
say-
I took my
Yeah, he
coupon
was
out of
holding
his
it out
hand.
to you
Shame.
when Steve charged up. And he just looks, and then he sees the broken hobby horse lands. And as they're just about finished getting the stuff off his cloak and making his way out, leaving the stick behind, I presume.
Yeah. Definitely.
And he just kind of sits there, and he just does this gesture. And as he does this, a second hand just flies off that and starts very slowly moving all of the little bits of the course back into place. And dragging the hobby horse, you just hear this scraping as another little hand is just along the floor.
I would like to
We're
point out
breaking
there
all
is.
the games.
I would like to point out there is now Weasel in Featherin's pocket.
Yeah, no worries. That is easily enough done, with or without her notice or caring.
Then
As we're walking
Sorry.
away, Azar's gonna walk up to Featherin, looking like extremely embarrassed. He's like, he's blushing. You can his face is like beet red, and he's gonna obviously I let you win.
oh, really? Thank you. That's super nice. Hey, do you want to share something with what we got here? We won this fruit slip. We can share. We can both win.
He looks kind of surprised that you're actually believing him. Yes, obviously.
I mean, I don't know, but like my passive insight is pretty good, so I think.
He believes that you believe him.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah, you want to insight whether they did an insight or?
I'm just gonna say that he failed it.
Amazing. I look around for the fruit stands. So what do you want? I had a caramelized apple before. They were pretty great. candy floss are also pretty good. I could go for something savory, maybe nachos or something with cheese.
Yes, that sounds lovely. He has no idea what nachos are.
Great! So nachos with cheese! And I run away to find something like that.
Make an investigation check.
Oh, yeah, that's really good. +5 is 22.
22. Yeah, you
Yeah.
find nachos and cheese.
Great!
And you're lining up at this little food truck type cart deal. I should probably move the UI here. I keep forgetting there's a stream where people can see what's happening, and I should probably point out that we're all the way at the end of the path of the parade now. In Upper Versla Corner, and there's quite a few food trucks. There's quite a few like indoor eating establishments as well. This being a destination, like sort of travel to area. And you're just like lined up within this cart, and they've got like a little stove on the back of the cart, and it's just like this. As you walk up, you just watch them like take a wheel of cheese and just like drop it into a saucepan on top of the fire.
Just the whole wheel.
Just the whole wheel of cheese, and they're just and
With
with
wax
it,
or-
and a couple of minutes later. They just no, they've stripped the wax off, but it's just like a whole, like, you know, it's not like they're cutting it. They just drop it all in, and a couple of minutes later they start ladling out this fondue cheese that's they've mixed spices in, and you're watching this whole process. It looks like they just ran out of the last lot, and they don't have room to make two at once. So, and also that would be gross. So they're making up another batch, and you're just sort of in a queue of a couple of people, and you can hear this voice behind you.
Bless you.
You're in it's a slightly sunken street, and there's occasional steps going up into little alleyways up onto higher roads and whatnot. And there's a few of these where these steps go up. There's like a nice ledge where you can like look down into the street and that kind of thing. And there's you're looking around, you can hear this guy calling out from this balcony, and you look over and you see this huge guy, like as big as Steve easily. And he's wearing this very ceremonial plate armor. It's emblazoned with an eye across the front, and he's got this giant helmet on that completely covers the face. You can't even tell what race he is, but he's 8 foot tall. And he's looking down over this balcony, and he's and it appears that he's preaching. You can make a perception check to try and make out what it is he's saying. He's a little way away from you.
I wanted to know if I could recognize the eye. I'm assuming it's a religious symbol.
This was a little bit further away. I don't think you went with Featherin for the nachos. So.
Good thinking, though. Dirty 20 for the perception check.
Okay.
And can I make a religion check?
Yeah, sure. Make a religion check.
Yes. Oh, which die?
I'm just making myself cozy in Fedrin's pocket, so
17 for the religion check.
Okay, so I'll deal with the religion check first. You do recognize the eye. You've actually already seen it today. You saw it as an inkle on the sleeve of the woman who was giving a speech at the beginning of the parade. You got quite close to her initially when you were, before you were sort of escorting the parade itself. You were quite close to the stage when that whole speech situation was happening, and you could clearly see that eye on the sleeve of the woman. And with the perception check, you can hear him talking. He's hang on one second. I need to look this up.
So I know I've seen it before, but I don't know which god it belongs to or something like that.
Sorry, it was a 17 for the religion check, wasn't it? Yes, you would know
Yes,
it's a symbol of Semka.
Yeah.
So, and he's this guy is preaching forth, and he's sort of in the middle of some kind of a thing. And we have brought the sacred text that will lead you to, and it's kind of going in this like large rise and fall, and there's a lot of bass in the voice that I really can't do justice to with both the sore throat that I have and you know, it's probably just not going to come that well across the microphone. But it's very deep, it's very booming. It carries pretty well, so it's not too hard for you to sort of make out the individual words. And he's sort of holding forth about the wonders of Semka and what the Watcher can do for you and the importance of vigilance, and it's all about protection. And make an insight check for me.
Oh, sure. Which one? Oh, bad. 10.
10.
But my passive insight
Is
is 15.
15. You get a similar feeling listening to this guy talk, because it's all kind of meaningless, like, you know, preaching stuff, right? So I could sit here and say stuff that you hear from street preachers all the time, but we all know what that sounds like. There's no real substance there, but just something about, like, the word choices and the rhythm of it. It all just feels kind of off in the same way that, like, the Magistrate's speech did.
Weird.
Or a similar way. Not
Curious.
quite the same, but a similar way. There's a lot more passion in this guy's voice. Yeah. The Magistrate just kind of seemed bemused that he was talking to a crowd.
All right. Can I see what the people who are listening are doing?
Yeah, there's a crowd
Do
of
they seem-
people there, and they're just sort of listening, and a couple of them are prominently displaying this eye, and there's also a group of much smaller figures clustered around the guy at the top of the balcony that are all in kind of like acolyte garb.
Okay. Do any of them seem like kind of, I don't know, like out of it maybe? Like bewitched, kind of charmed?
You're just
or,
way
like,
too far away
dazed,
to
or-
tell.
Okay.
Like, there's a height difference, and it's the middle of the day, so like the light's coming down from above, and they're wearing hoods, and like you
I'm
can't
just
see
like,
any
"Ah."
of their faces.
Curious, but cheese. Well,
Yeah, and then the nachos are ready, and you're like, "Ooh!"
Yeah.
and off you go.
yep, exactly. That's Featherin. That's what they do.
So, what would you guys like to do? The day is now yours. You sort of need to find Carol at some point to get paid and pick up Andrew, but other than that, your duties
stuff
have
some
been
nachos.
discharged.
In my pocket where the weasel is.
Hot cheese comes cascading down onto the weasel. Make a dex
No,
check.
the
No,
ones
dex
with
save,
hot
dex save.
cheese.
Right now, no, it's a dex save. There's hot cheese.
I looked for hot cheese in my pocket. I thought the ones from under there without the cheese.
All right,
Come
fine.
on.
That's small.
Damn. Who pours hot cheese in their pockets?
Well, apparently Featherin. I mean, are you really coming down on us for not knowing what to expect with Featherin?
Well,
This character that is literally just woo.
Yeah, that's the character.
yeah, it is.
That was the whole character concept. She sent me just that face. A rogue, but woo.
Is there like a tailor's or like a cloth workhouse in this area that's like, because this is a nicer area where it
Oh
would
yeah,
cost me a bit of money,
there's some
but there's, like,
tailors and stuff around here for sure. What are you looking for?
I want to get I don't know how to describe this. Is it called a tabard? Basically, cloth that goes over the top of your armor.
Yeah,
that will have
tabard.
my holy
tabard.
symbol
That's a
on
tabard,
it,
yeah.
and yeah, I'd like to inquire about getting a tabard made with my holy symbol.
I mean, I assumed you had one already, but you can certainly go and make one.
I want a nicer one.
Fair enough. Go and get a nicer
guess.
one. Yeah, this one's travel weary. You've come a long way. That's understandable.
And I want to ask if they can give me some real like dense cloth behind it, because I'm looking to even shore up my armor a bit more
Mm-hmm.
with this tabard. And then inquiring how much this will cost as well, because I'm a big guy and
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
a lot of fabric, unusual measurements to work with. You know, they can't just like pull
Yeah,
something off the
tabard
rack
is
and adapt it.
then again, a tabard is the absolute easiest piece
Yeah,
of clothing
it's
to
a
make.
long piece of cloth with a hole in it that you tie together. Yes, it
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that is simple. So yeah, easily enough done. I mean, it really depends on how nice you want it to be. If you want it to be super nice, it'd be like 5 gold. If you want it to be okay, then it's like 2 gold.
I'd like it to be super nice.
Then 5 gold.
And hand over a 5 gold.
Yeah, you get a super nice tabard back.
Nice.
Would you like me to take that one, sir, and burn it, perhaps? He's
No.
looking at the old one.
No, I'll keep it. It has a little
All
bit.
right. And he just sort of does that, like, nice, that nice posh shopkeeper look where he's like, yes, whatever the customer says, and then walks away.
Definitely a bad decision, but it's yours.
So, does anybody have anything else that they would like to do?
I mean, I'd like
Um,
you all to imagine a weasel sticking out of a pocket, just very carefully holding a piece of nacho and nibbling on it.
Oh.
That's adorable.
That is
So cute.
freaking adorable.
Why don't we have more friends? I need artwork.
Why don't we have any fans, is the question we have to ask first.
Listen, a friend of mine is in chat, okay?
Ooh.
Yeah.
We have at least one on my side as well. We got a person there.
Are there any?
Well, I'm
any
told
magic
by some
shops?
random people in chat that I can buy followers. So-
Yeah. Hey. Exact same text, 2 different people.
Asda.
Great.
Yeah. Are there any kind of magical shop? Anything that looks even slightly magical?
Yeah, you would have passed one on the parade. The question is, was Asda paying enough attention to notice
no.
it? What? You can make an investigation check to look for one.
Okay, hold on. I kind of hope I fail this.
I mean, me too.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Yeah, that's great. I hadn't made a shop yet for the city. I just assumed it was too soon. You guys don't have any money yet.
You gave us a lot of starting money.
I
Yeah.
didn't give you a lot of starting money.
The
You did.
DMG gave us a lot of starting money.
You were like 500 gold pieces.
Yeah, that's what it says in the DMG.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, that's a fuck ton.
that's like low cost for magical items.
Oh, I was more looking for spells, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so with a 1, yeah, you know, you get the feeling that maybe this just isn't the right day for that kind of shopping.
Right.
Like, if people were doing a business, if people work or own a business that isn't immediately servicing the needs of people going to the parade, with the exception of, like, straight up retail, that's, yeah, there's not, you're not finding anything right now, and it's kind of hard to find things because there's just a lot of people in the way to stop. It's not like you can walk down the street and look at every shop. You would need to, like, walk down one side of the street, then walk down the other side of the street in order to actually see what's there. So, and decorations are hanging everywhere, obscuring signs, and you're looking around and you're like, this place is the worst. I just want to buy a spell.
On a national holiday.
Does
Or
anyone
citywide.
stick out from the crowd?
Ooh, make a perception check.
It's me. I stick out.
That's a whole 10.
A whole 10. No, nobody sticks out. Nobody at all.
Just a crowd.
Not anybody. It's just a crowd. It's just a lot of people. It's like,
I mean,
oh,
you're sticking
is
out.
there a tree in that forest? The answer is yes. Yes, there is. Which one? Who knows?
Is there any interesting smells going on?
Oh, absolutely. Mostly cheese.
Mostly cheese. Yeah, that's kind of
With where you are
overpowering
right
cheese.
now, it's kind of impossible to smell anything else.
Okay, fair enough.
I kind of like walk the whole way with the nachos like this out to Asta, so he could take some as well.
He's gonna like carefully try one and taste it. Yes, these are lovely nachos.
That's
Very
really
good.
good. So I'm new to this part of the world, and I saw this like really fucking like huge guy. Couldn't quite make out what race, but it doesn't really matter. But if I had to guess, like almost as tall as you are, Steve. Anyway, he had this big eye of Semka in front of him, like kind of like you do, only with an eye. And he was preaching. Is that normal that people just stand around in the city and like kind of preach to the crowd beneath them? Seems kind of patronizing.
Well, condescension is when you talk down to people.
Condescending, thank you. You're all not from around here, I see, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there just in that statement,
Everybody's silent.
No,
Could
that's
you-
just me.
I can't really say too much. I'm a weasel eating a nacho.
You're also from another plane of existence. Well said. Thank you.
Could you take us to him? Or her? Or whoever, whatever this large creature is that's preaching?
I mean, it was over back where I got the nachos from. We could go back, but it wasn't particularly interesting what they said. It's just like the boring kind of, oh my god, best god, do this, it stands for this and this, nothing like extraordinary. I mean, it was very charismatic, very melodic kind of speech. Kind of weirded me out a little bit, actually, but
Yeah, it felt like
but
that
if you
bass
want
was
to
getting
go back,
towards
I
the
can
brown
find the way
note.
back.
Hmm. That's sounds of London. Steve definitely wants to go back and listen for a little bit because of the fact that a religion has been mentioned.
Yeah, you haven't had a whole lot of contact with other religions.
Yeah, I mean, other than Carol.
I mean, that's been brief though, so
Yeah. If you wouldn't mind, I would like to go give a listen. While
Sure.
it is another religion to mine, there might be something to learn. Is everyone okay with that?
I stick another nacho in my pocket.
I'm gonna grab
happy nibbling.
Asda as well, just to make sure we don't lose Asda.
As they're still looking in shop windows, being like, why is nothing open? This is the worst. All this decoration is in the way.
all I want is paper with spells written on it.
Yep, that's it.
Oh, great. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I will turn around and lead them back.
Sure.
To
Yeah,
you,
you
where-
lead them
where I saw
back,
them.
and looks like the whatever the sermon is wrapped up a little bit, and the crowd is dispersed at the bottom, but the figure's still up there, and you recognize a couple of the people that you saw below have walked up the steps and are sort of talking to this giant armored figure that's now down on one knee, so head height with the average 5'8" person.
Over there. That's them. The person that was preaching. Person.
Yes, I am not used
from
to
this distance. They look kind of normal height because there's a wall that they're like kneeling behind. So, so
Oh, okay. Let me change that statement to. I thought you said he looked above my size. Or they looked above my size.
I did.
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna look up and I'm gonna look back down a couple of times. Maybe they'll stand up. But yeah, the stairs up, right?
Yeah, this stairs up.
Okay.
Okay.
Start
Okay.
walking up the stairs
Okay.
and going to the person.
So you
I
start
will
walking up the stairs.
Get more nachos. I will join you.
The queue's even longer than it was before.
Oh, no.
Not worth it.
No, not
If it was
worth it.
empty, you'd just be that guy that shows up around the corner at the. Okay, so you have the stairs there in front of you. You're walking up them. It's like this whole area of the city feels very old towny, you know, like there's a lot of weird corners and crannies, and there's there's essentially like a little paved area. There's a tree sort of shading this group from the bright sun, and most of the acolytes have their hoods down now, and they're just sort of chatting amiably amongst themselves or with like members of the quote unquote congregation that had gathered. And you see, Steve, right as you get far enough up the steps to be able to see over the wall, you do in fact see that this figure is kneeling down, just like taking a knee, you know, and has his or theirs hands crossed over their knee, and is just talking earnestly with the person in front in low tones. And again, you can hear the bass and the rhythm, but you can't quite make out the words as they're talking a lot softer than they were before.
So I wouldn't want to interrupt. So, do any of the acolytes look, say, less engaged in a conversation?
Yeah, there's one guy stood off to the side who's just sort of like he's sort of doing that like half lean on the wall where he's like, you know, I should probably be doing something else, but right now I'm just taking a second for myself.
All right, I'm a stroll up to him and hello there.
Hello,
I
brother.
heard you was potentially preaching here. Could I talk to the person who knows the most about your religion?
Oh, well, that
Hello.
would be... Hello.
I'm also here. Hello. Do you want a nacho? I still got some.
No, but thank
Oh,
you.
okay. I give another one to the weasel and I eat like.
Well, Leonardo will be free soon.
That's
Nice.
hilarious, by the way.
Sorry? What?
Leonardo, Michelangelo. I see what's going on
Yeah,
here. That's
yeah.
amazing. So good. Very good.
And here I thought I'd sneak it by for maybe one NPC conversation before the big thing, but...
Listen, no.
I see. Well, in the meantime, what can you tell me about? I'm gonna look at the foreign. Semka, was it? What can you tell me about Semka?
Well, we're the reclaimed of Semka. We're, we're trying to spread the good word, and Semka is all about being watchful, wary, vigilant, keeping an eye on those around you, make sure they're not doing anything wrong, that kind of thing. You know, the more you know, the safer you'll be.
I definitely agree. The more you know, the safer you'll be.
I think everyone can agree with that, right? If you don't know an arrow's coming towards you and don't get out of the way, well, that's going to hurt. But if you know the arrow's coming and you move out the way, you'll be fine. You're always safer if you know.
And how do you feel about taking these things, and taking them forward and truly learning from them, inquiring into a greater meaning on the things you observe. Because often the actions in our lives, the things that happen to us, there's something greater, a greater lesson to be learned. And I agree full and wholeheartedly that being observant and not letting the people around you deceive you, making sure everything is okay, is great. But if you learn nothing from it, well, to what end is it?
Well, I mean, it goes without saying that when we say the more you'll know, the safer you'll be, that's learning is a big part of, that's the path to knowing. So if you skip that step, you're a little bit fucked, pardon my Purpingtonian, if you skip that step.
Which step? Sorry, I didn't listen.
The fact, sorry, oh, you've got me all backwards. The learning one. You gotta learn to know. If you don't learn, you won't know. So saying, oh, you gotta learn from everything, well, that seems like it's a bit derivative from the main message. And it's not really the point anyway, because really what you want is you need to know everything so that when you can't be surprised by things, you always anticipate. Know what's coming next.
But
So
if
really
you
what
always
we're trying...
anticipate and you're never surprised, isn't that kind of boring?
Honestly, I'm not that good at it yet, so I don't know.
Well, if you ever get better, let me know.
If
I'd be
I
interested.
ever see you again, I will. Who are you?
Oh, I'm Featherin.
Of?
Featherin Forgedon? Of
Oh, well,
Antheas in Emeria? I don't know. What kind of question is that?
oh,
Of
just...
myself?
Well, I'm Peter of the Reclaimed.
Oh, hello,
And you
Peter.
appear to have some kind of a group here, and I was wondering if there was a collective name for you. Never mind. I see I've jumped to conclusions.
Oh, yeah, no, I met those guys yesterday. I love them, though. They're
Oh,
great.
I see.
No, is in I like them.
Well, what do you know about them?
Oh, I don't know. Steve's pretty big. And Alyssum can turn into a weasel. I point at the weasel in my pocket. Esther kind of spaces out sometimes. Esther probably like...
What?
Thank you. Don't know that much about myself, really. It's fun finding
Until
out
you
stuff
know
about
yourself,
yourself.
you can't know everything.
I don't want to know everything. I just want to know one very specific thing.
What's that?
Oh, death.
You want to know death.
Yes. Do you know anything about it?
You could try working as a butcher.
No.
There's a lot of death.
That's horrible. I worked as a healer for quite some time, actually. Also a lot of death, but I don't think there's anything new that would teach me. Like, animals, people, dying.
I have to
just
say,
wanna
I
know
did not
more.
expect this conversation to take this turn. I'm sorry, was there something specific that I could help you all with?
I look at Steve. Sorry.
That's okay, Feverin.
I get distracted.
It's okay. Much of that conversation, it's allowed me to be enlightened into that perspective that is being taken.
We aim to
here.
bring everybody into the light.
And one thing I notice is that you talk about knowing as much as possible, but yet don't know anything, and put no
Fun.
emphasis on learning. Surely the master is the eternal student, and we should really put the emphasis on learning as much as possible, not just knowing. I may know one thing, but if I do not adapt that knowledge based on the lessons I am taught, how can I go forward with my life?
I mean, it's an interesting point. You know, make a persuasion check.
Me? Yeah.
You're the one that was talking. You're giving this guy the conversion pitch.
21.
21.
21.
Yeah, you're right. We are quite focused on the gathering and not so much on the application. I'll have to
And-
think about this.
I would like to pull out a small scroll. I carry around copies of the lessons of... Goodness, what's his name? Give me a second.
It's a long name. It's a long ass name.
The word you're searching for is Scholata 2.
No, I'm looking for the interpretations of Gantuv.
Oh,
I carry
I
a scrolls
understand.
around
Mhm.
of the
Gotcha.
interpretations of Gantuv, and I'm going to hand this acolyte this scroll and say, it's definitely something to think about. Give this a read, and I'm in the Dwarven Bar in what was district
Marinau.
in Marinau. I should be there for a small amount of time. Maybe come see me once you've thought on it. And
Okay, yeah. I mean, I'll pass it around to the lads as well, see what they think about it. You know, and the girls over there. They like we maybe we need to be talking more about how we apply what we know. Maybe that makes a lot of sense. And you sort of, he's sort of like he's just sort of looking at you like he's got a lot to think about, you know, and you kind of feel like, oh, my work here might be done for now.
Yeah.
And he goes back to leaning on the wall and kind of looking out, and there's a bit more of a thoughtful expression on him rather than the loosely bored expression that was there before.
My work here is done, is what I'm thinking.
Sorry, just really quickly. Was he trying to convert you, and you, with your questions, converted him instead?
I don't
what's
see it
happening?
as I don't see it such as conversion, but just opening one's eye to what we can be taught.
Interesting. Also a little bit uncomfortable, but never mind. I scratched the weasel on the
There
head.
definitely was an uncomfortable middle part of that conversation, but the start and end were both pretty smooth. Figure
It
out the
tends
middle
to
and you'll
go
be
like
fine. Very true. By this point as well, the figure has gotten to this Leonardo chap has gotten to his feet and is still wearing the helmet and everything.
I'm going to tip
Now
my
that
head
we're
as a
near
gesture.
him, can we see what kind of creature he is?
Hard to tell.
is the
It's a
helmet
lot of
armor?
armor.
Okay.
And this armor's like ceremonial as well, so it doesn't look like it would be that useful in a fight. Like it'd do more than nothing, but it's not like, you know, the real deal plate mail.
I nudged Steve and see, I said he was big.
Yeah, and he's got this shield with a giant eye in it as well, and the eye actually moves and looks at things. Now that you can see that.
That's weird and interesting.
Yeah, so he's got the shield on his back, and this eye is just like looking out behind him. If you want to go up and prod it.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Okay. Are you gonna try and be stealthy while you do this?
Listen. Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay, roll a stealth check.
Sure. I mean, if you give me the option, it's kind of what I do. 21.
Okay.
Didn't
I
roll
am
great.
now going to roll perception for this paladin of Semka. Oh dear.
Yeah, I didn't roll great, I know.
Yeah. I'm just... Getting the guy's character sheet up. I didn't expect us to be.
Don't kill me. Don't kill me.
What did you roll?
You rolled a 21.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would be a 25 against you to notice this.
Okay. That's okay.
Cause passive perception, yo. So you're sneaking up and what are you doing? Describe to me exactly how you accomplish this goal that you have set for yourself.
Well, there's people around him, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of want to go like from back to back, like standing next to people, like then turning
Yeah,
around.
yeah,
to
you're just
the
merging
next
through the
people,
cloud. Yeah,
so-
I
And then
understand.
when I'm right behind him, I'm like, boop. See what the eyes do.
So
If
right
I
as
can get
you're-
to that, even like
Right as your finger's about to
Make me
touch
so
the
happy.
eye, it looks right at you,
Mm.
and the guy spins around.
that's so cool. Great shield. Love it.
Can I help
Hello.
you?
Yeah, cool shield. Great speech and stuff.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I'm gonna try and get Asdar out of his daze. Like, yo, there's a magical item. I know what you've been looking for, my dude.
You want a treat? You want a treat? You want a Scooby snack? There's a shield with an eye in it.
Yeah, just get his attention on it if I can.
Well, excuse my curiousness, but how's that eye moving on your shield? And how did you notice me? Even I'm very good at hiding. Well, normally I'm very good at hiding.
I saw you merging through the conversations towards me.
Very perceptive then. Ah. Well, I guess it's expected with all the, watching and vigilant
That's
stuff.
literally the point of our religion, yes.
Yeah. I've heard. Yeah. We talked to, I forgot his name. Peter.
Peter,
over there.
yes.
Peter of the Reclaimed. I'm Featherin
One of our newer students.
myself.
And was Peter enlightening to you all?
Well, actually, I didn't really listen all the time, but
I'm on the other side.
I
I'm
was
trying to
very
give her a.
enlightening to Peter, so
I'm not sure I understand, but knowing makes you safer.
does it though? Does it? If you know that something's coming.
Well, how would you avoid something if you did not know it was coming?
Why would you try to avoid it in the first place?
Well, if the thing that's coming is an arrow, don't you think it would make sense to move out of the way?
Oh no, I catch those.
Just kind of the helmeted head just kind of cocks to the side slightly. Sorry?
It's literally what I do. If there was an arrow coming, I would catch it. I would try to. Well, anyways. Yeah. Well, that's my friend Steve. He was asking about you, so. Steve!
Why don't you introduce me?
Yeah,
Not
that's
often
Steve.
I speak to someone face to
That's the guy who
face
preached.
while standing up.
Steve! Priest guy, Steve!
Pleasure to meet you. My name is Leonardo of the Reclaimed.
Hello, Leonardo. My name is Svul Takum. I'm not
My own character
Damn
sheet
it.
to remember my name.
Svul Takum Endelven Essos of the Namsefni. Nice to meet you as well.
The Namsefni. The tribe from the southwestern tip of Torpen.
I believe you're correct, yes. We are only one Namsefni.
I'm aware of your faith that is practiced there. Are you, I assume, from your adornments, a proponent of that? One of their, what do they call you? Missionaries?
Yes, I am one of the missionaries of the
That makes so
Namsefni.
much sense.
And, well, I guess the best way to put this, my reasoning for coming here is just someone my size in the city. It just took me aback. And the fact that you're also a religious man, I had to come speak to you. And just to see for myself that there's others like me.
Yes, you have a... We have had one of the followers of Namsefni join our tribe before. Leave your tribe before and join our ranks among the reclaimed. He saw that lessons are merely the path to knowledge, and knowledge must always be the goal. Without knowledge, you cannot shape or design lessons. Without knowledge, you cannot learn anything. You must learn how to learn in order to learn. Someone must know how to teach in order to help you learn. But the knowing is the base denomination. You cannot know something. You cannot make choices without knowledge of the choices before you. We cannot operate blindly as we walk through this world. We must be aware of all as much as possible. We must know in order to be safe.
While I do see what you're trying to say here, I think potentially you've misinterpreted the religion of the Namsefni, and that you seem to put a lot of emphasis on finding a lesson, but not the part where we actually learn from it, you see. We do learn our knowledge. Our knowledge at the end of the day comes from our lessons, and we choose to apply that knowledge. I think the biggest difference I've seen is the rigidness of the knowledge. If something is written, it can be changed with us. We are willing to continually learn.
We are interested in how things are, not how we wish them to be. We do not expect our knowledge to change those around us. We expect it to help us keep them safe. We
And
are a
if you were wrong-
shield, and you are a play school.
I'd missed the end of that, sorry.
We are a shield, and you are a play school.
Angry weasel noises intensify.
The eye of the shield is looking at your pocket,
The head is
staring at the
sticking out and
weasel.
just growling. However, it's a weasel growl, so it's just very intimidating.
I see that you will be the unmoving shield, the stubborn, and that is fine.
No, the unmoving shield is this, and he whirls the shield around and slams it into the floor in front of him, and it's this tower shield that just stands on its own. And you look down, and like this was cobbled road, and there's several cobbles that were underneath the edge of the shield that are significantly deeper in the ground now as it supports itself with those it did slip between. This is the unmoving shield. The eye of Semka sees all and reveals all.
Yet crushes those below it. Those below it go deeper into the ground. What an example of the knowing but unlearning. The not observing, really, truthfully observing the world and crushing those below you. I see that you do not respect my religion, and I see myself as that paving stone you may have just crushed.
It is not about respect. Respect is meaningless. There is no point to it. It is merely a tool that is used in order to make people safe. Respect is something we use to protect ourselves. We give this idea of, oh, I respect that person and he respects me, and so we shall do no harm to each other. But as soon as something changes in the background, we trust that respect too much and we are surprised, and we cannot be surprised. Knowing leads to safety.
Just be careful of the people below your shields and your feet. And I'm gonna turn around.
I would
and
like
walk
all
away.
of you to make intelligence saves.
Oh.
And this guy isn't even like lawful neutral. He's just lawful.
I think we're moving into lawful evil territory here.
Yeah. 21.
That
Fuck.
What check was it?
Intelligence save.
I got
Oh,
it
intelligence
right.
save. Great. I'm good at
You
those.
don't. I mean, you don't need to know the number. I just succeed, right? Right?
Check.
What's
Yeah,
the number,
there you
Trip?
go.
7.
So,
Not
we
1 plus
have
6.
2 7s, a 9, and what did you get, Featherin?
21.
Alright. This will be interesting. So everyone except Featherin takes 23 points of psychic damage and is stunned for
What?
1 minute.
22.
23.
Oh, great.
Even better.
Yeah, sorry, I must have misspoken, perhaps. Swallowed the laugh.
Well,
That's
I
fine.
assume a weasel has 1 hit point.
Yeah, Weasel's got like 3 at most, so
Yeah.
this druid explodes out of Featherin's pocket. Make a dex save, Featherin.
Oh, a
Jesus.
million.
A million? Yeah, okay. It's
Yeah,
like
natural
you feel the shape that you feel this sudden impact of this. It's bizarre. It just comes like a wave over your mind, and for a split second you, and it reminds you of like the mental version of when you stun of when you've been stunned as part of your monkish training. It
Yeah.
reminds you of that, but like in your mind rather than your body. But shake it off. And at that exact split second, you think, friends, look at your friends, and you see the two that are visible motionless. And you have just that split second reaction of, there's
Get the
4 of
weasel out
us.
pocket.
And whoop, you're jumping out of the way as your pocket explodes outwards. You roll to your feet, just around to the side.
Rude.
What
the
happened?
heck? Well, people, hello?
They
I don't
are
know what did
digesting
happen,
the
sir.
lesson.
Oh, yeah. If I wasn't afraid of you, I'd just say you were a dick. But I'm pretty afraid of you right now, so I'd just rather not.
I don't understand.
No, you wouldn't.
Did you listen to what I was saying before? Seems genuinely confused.
But I just think you're a bit of a tool, really. So I don't think it had that much effect. Also, I think that you're, not actually focusing on what is really important. But, well,
What
that
is
is your problem
important?
to live with.
What is important? Tell me.
Well, for everybody else, that's, for everyone to decide for themselves. And you don't seem to respect that because you don't seem to think that respect is something that is actually helpful in any way. So
Some people choose to decide for themselves that they would like to murder their neighbor. Is that okay?
Oh, I didn't say that was okay, but some people choose to have people they've just met that they were discussing was just because they
I have
advised them
hurt
to use
nobody.
caution.
Your friends are motionless because the weight of my knowledge often leaves people motionless.
muttered.
I look-
Curse
You didn't take
Solomon.
any damage, and there's no indication that they
Thoroughly.
took any damage. So
I
It was
look
psychic
thoroughly
damage.
unimpressed. Well, they just look.
they
really,
look stunned, sure. And you felt like a moment where you felt stunned as well, but it wasn't specifically damaged to you.
So there was no indication in any of them that something hurt for like
They
almost
were
all of their hit
stunned.
points.
I mean, the weasel did just erupt into a tiefling, so
Doesn't know druids well enough to know that.
yeah, fair enough.
I mean,
Oh, well, I mean, you might.
I did see it before in the graveyard, though. Cemetery. Graveyard?
I don't think you ever really. I don't know
think-
whether you've seen enough to put the connection together as to what mechanic is
Oh,
causing
okay.
the animal to stop being an animal.
Well, okay.
Because I'm
back
pretty
to-
sure it was voluntary always in the graveyard.
On the graveyard, I switched. I changed shape voluntary. Yes.
Oh, I thought you were hit once
Nope.
and turned back. Okay. Well, then. Well, I don't know. I just don't think that
It
somebody.
should pass in a minute or so.
I don't want to wait around you for a minute for them to get back to their senses.
They have so much to think
You make
about.
me so uncomfortable.
I'm sorry that this seemed sinister to you.
Oh, no. It's not sinister.
Sometimes
all.
religion
I've
works
seen
in
way
strange
worse.
ways. But when I preach, people often have this reaction.
Oh, my boy.
I take it as
Your
Semka
scroll
removing
is gonna
them
be so
from...
long when you finally die, and I do not envy the person who has to write all of that down.
I'm sorry, what? My scroll?
Yes, your scroll.
Which one?
The one where your life story is going to be told before you
Which one?
move on to Senka. Yeah, when you die.
Oh, you mean like a
Oh.
posthumous edition?
You don't know. I see. Okay, that's cool.
I don't know what.
About the scrolls and the Endless Library.
I'm sorry. Is that a magical school, perhaps, on Ameria?
I'm also really sorry. Is a minute gone now?
Yeah, sure. About this point, everybody else comes too.
Yeah.
And you don't really
Yeah.
have memory of pain. All you can think about is what you've heard last. And it just feels very imprinted on your brain. Like it's, you know, like when you have a song stuck in your head? Like the kinds of things that he was saying, you know, like you have to know to be safe. It would just kind of like repeat itself in your mind occasionally for an hour or so afterwards.
Well, I know that I'm on the floor now, and it was a weasel.
Yeah. And you're not entirely sure what happened. You just remember listening to the thing, and then you're like, I'm a weasel now, and you feel very
And I'm on the
sore.
floor.
And like, you guys all feel like, you know, like mentally exhausted.
Mhm.
But there's no like physical impression that you're in any way damaged.
Well, I'd like to dispel magic on myself.
Sure.
Because this is very clearly a magical attempt at my psyche, and I don't like it.
Sure. Cast Dispel Magic on yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Targeting this effect.
Yep.
Does anything happen?
Nope. Well, you expend a spell slot, but other than
Yeah.
that.
Nice.
Great. So, like, right when they come to, I'm like, yes, I'm also really sorry. And then I turn to Steve and see him moving, and I'm like, can we go now?
Ow.
Can we go now? Come on, come on. So I help lift them up and grab Asta, and I'm like pushing them towards Steve, and I'm like, I really want to get out of this. He's making me so uncomfortable.
If you ever want to know more, remember, knowing will make you safe, and I will be here.
Nothing makes you actually safe. See ya.
Yeah, let's go.
Just mutter to everyone. I don't like him.
Yeah, me neither. He's a bit of a tool. I told him that, but he didn't seem to, think that he is.
Runs
Which
in the
is too
family, I
bad.
guess.
Not a lot of self-reflection going on with that guy.
I mean, he wasn't kidding about the multiple scrolls written about him. With your passive
Oh.
insight, you would have picked that up.
So,
I could really do with sitting down with a tea.
yes, something to drink sounds lovely, actually.
Should we go to the Dwarven bar? Maybe see if we can catch Carol for our payment?
You're not that far away, and he did tell you to meet him back there. So you're only like a mile away.
Let's do that. Anybody want some more candy to, erase whatever that guy told you that seems to be with you still? Very weird silence for a minute. Very weird. Very awkward. Didn't enjoy that.
Did something to my mind. Don't like it.
My doorbell just rang. I'm gonna be back in a sec.
And so, as you're all walking back to the bar, do you discuss what transpired at all? Does anybody have anything they want to achieve as they move through a part of the town that wasn't completely shut down in the effort of a parade?
Azar just keeps mumbling to himself, knowing makes you safe.
I thought he might. Knowing makes you safe. Knowing makes you safe. Knowing. I want to see the kobold version of Asdar. When's that happening?
Oh, that's a good idea. That's the next one.
That's the next. It's just Asdar every time. It's always Asdar's different race.
He's just gonna.
You weren't kidding with the octoplets thing. Well, I can't remember who said that, but
Oh no, it was me. Yeah.
it was you. I thought it was one of the new guys. Couldn't remember which one.
I do think it would if Azar when Azar dies, I'm just gonna make a character that knew about him, but
Mhm.
they're not gonna be as dumb as him.
But it's just each one's learning from his mistakes. They're all just sat at home scrying on him like, that was terrible. Don't do that.
It's like remember that game? What was that called? Where every time you die, you appear as like your descendant.
Yeah, Rogue Legacy. That was the game I referenced when you said that originally.
No, I'm thinking of like a mobile game,
I mean,
something Infinity.
oh, I don't know then, but Rogue Legacy was the original one that did that.
Okay.
The roguelite. It's actually the opposite of a roguelike, but never mind. Just has procedural, whatever. Dying's a mechanic. Continuing. So you guys are making your way back, and Asdar's muttering, "Knowing makes you safe." What are the rest of you doing?
I am trying to work out what went on it. I know there was a gap, but as you said, there was no pain or anything. I just felt exhausted, so I'm trying to work out what that gap was. Cause
Yeah, and these weird, like, these sentences that feel like perversions of what your religion teaches keep just popping up, bubbling up in your mind, no matter how hard you're trying to think of something else.
Esther, are you okay?
Yes. Knowing makes you safe.
Doesn't really make you safe. Nothing can make you completely safe.
No, yeah, you're right. Knowing makes you safe.
Oh, Jesus. Do you want some chocolate? Maybe that helps. I'm gonna go and buy something with chocolate and give him something with chocolate.
You think it's like time travel in Men in Black? He just needs chocolate milk and he'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking
kind of.
in Harry Potter,
like Dementors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the stuff. Listen, what I get from this is just that chocolate always helps, no matter which universe
Hey,
and
it is more
which
addictive than
fandom you're
heroin,
in.
Unless you're lactose intolerant.
which I am, and I still eat a bunch of it because worth it.
Well, you can
Fuck
eat
it, it's chocolate.
the dark chocolate that doesn't have any milk in it.
I could. You're right.
Or you could just always forget your lactose tablets.
That's not true. I don't always forget my lactose tablets. I only ever forget my lactose tablets when you're involved. You are the common denominator here, Shelley. I have them every other time.
You had to stop so you could get more.
Well, it's because unless I'm seeing you, I'm only ever in one of two places, and I have lactose tablets in both of those places. So it's not
I
a
should
problem.
just get some so I should just always take some with me for you.
That would actually be way easier. Yeah, do that.
No, you're an adult. You can do it yourself.
I can. But will
But
I?
you don't. I don't
When
wanna.
someone else offers to do it.
Wait, are you telling me Owen is an adult?
That's allegedly what's true. I don't know,
I've got a
man.
daughter, so
My
yes.
daughter's never admitted it, so.
I mean, I know people in their 40s who are definitely not adults.
Yeah, well, my daughter wanted
So-
to go on a school trip, and they sent back the letter that I gave her because I didn't count as an adult or whatever. That's not true. That didn't happen. More than once. So you guys
drinks.
get back to the Dwarf's Helm. You're having drinks. You're waiting for Carol and Andrew to show up.
So how is everybody feeling? Did the chocolate help?
It was very sweet.
It's chocolate, so.
I'm getting the scrolls out and finding a corner and just frantically reading all of the scrolls that I have. 'Cause
Understood.
I'm,
You've memorized them, but you're still
Oh,
reading them
God.
anyway.
yeah. Like I'm in a panic.
Sitting in the corner muttering to yourself over and over, reading the
Yeah,
sentences.
Reading makes me safe. No,
Creepy.
damn it, that's too close.
Stacks of teacups just piled up as well. Like I'm going a little bit nutty here. Do I have a clue what happened to me? Is there any way I can
Make an Arcana check.
push for that? Oh, that's a good check. I've got a +0 on that. It's a 15.
Why you guys only ever roll well when you've got a +0? I don't know why you're concerned.
That's not true. I've rolled well when I've had a -1 or -3. I did not roll well when I had a +6.
So, with a 15, you're not totally familiar with the mechanism, but you do believe that it didn't. Yeah, like you know that it didn't originate from who you were talking to. But more than that, you can't really say. You think about it too much, and the words just start bubbling back up to the top and repeating again, like It's like when you've just randomly got, when you just have like one line of a song stuck in your head and it just repeats, and it's like, our house in the middle of our street, our house in the middle of our street, and you just never get to the next line.
Yeah.
It's like baby back, baby back, baby. I can't sing, but the baby back rib song.
Yeah.
This is a song that.
So I'm just there, just muttering to myself. Well, if it
I know a
wasn't
song that'll
him.
get on your nerves, get on your nerves.
Well, if it wasn't him. Well, if it wasn't him. I'm just continuously going in a loop over. Well, if it wasn't him. Well, if it wasn't. That's me for the next couple of hours, I think.
Sure, no worries.
Can I?
Yeah, everyone's kind of acting weird, Feather.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean,
Allison's-
Allison's always weird, but this is weird even.
Yeah, Allison is usually weird but following you. Now Allison is just in a corner, trying to be as small as possible.
I get some drink with alcohol in it. Strong
Oh, no.
alcohol, like whiskey or something, good. Something good. I will splurge on this even. And I give everyone except for Steve something because I know he don't drink. And I want to sit next to Asta. And I'm like, kind of want to check him out and make a medicine check if possible to see if, like.
Sure, make a medicine check.
Because I forgot that's a thing that I do. That's a terrible roll. That's a 12. It was a 4 plus 8.
Oh.
You kind of feel like this is a trauma reaction, but you're not entirely sure what the trauma was. And you also get the feeling that maybe Asda's a little bit more affected than other people for other reasons.
For natural reasons.
Yeah,
What?
maybe
You
less
mean-
natural defenses in terms of the. It's easier to pull a muscle if it's not that strong, guys.
I mean, hey,
What
raise
you
the muscle.
mean? The warlock's a bit nutty. That never happens.
Well, I just want to check all of them over for like outwardly or like any signs of pain or anything, but I know that I won't find anything. But I
just
still
the
do it like
it's just
okay,
the the choices they are making is the only reaction, is the only indication that anything happened. So like they're choosing to say things, they're choosing to, you know, sit in the corner and make themselves small. Like they're making choices that show that there was something that happened, that, you know, their behavior has changed. They're exhibiting that. But outside of that, as far as you can tell, they should be fine. I did not just throw 35 cards on the floor.
There was a specific number.
I'm very good at counting cards.
You counted them as they fell down.
Especially when they're on the floor. Oh, that was 35.
No, I can ballpark split a deck in half. So it's like I can reasonably rely. I can 9 times out of 10 grab 10 or 11 cards off the top of a deck, and it's really annoying to me because I really want it to just be 10, but it's 10 or 11 cards 9 times out of 10.
Now
So-
I want to know exactly how much did you drop.
Well, I mean, I dropped somewhere in the region of 30, so like that many. So
Count them. No.
I've already
Don't.
put them back in
Well-
the deck, guys. So.
Well, I now also have the perfect opportunity to share this. Seems relevant from earlier.
What was that? Sorry. Oh, you made a check. Sorry.
No.
No, I'm
check
confused.
check the lessons chat.
Oh.
Oh, I can't
Oh,
while
oh.
we're on the stream.
Oh, okay. You'll see it
you can
after.
you can click back to the.
Oh.
I can, but I'm capturing the Discord
Oh,
window.
you mean? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Amazing.
I'm aware of how Discord works. It's just that for what I'm using it right now, unless I open it in a browser, which I can't be bothered to do. I'm opening it on my phone now because now we're talking about it and there's a big thing. Yep, that makes sense.
It's so good. Oh.
And honestly, in my headcanon, Featherin is now wearing that jacket.
Ah.
Like the tweed, I'm just like, it's such a train spotter coat, you know? And you're a funeral spotter.
I mean, if it were black, white, and red.
You show
Totally.
up in a trench coat with a notebook to funerals.
I feel like we need to find a way to show that to the stream now.
You know, I'll tell you what, I will tweet it, so you should go follow me at Silent Echo UK, and then you will see the picture.
Hey.
So, is there anything else that anybody wants to do? Because I'm sort of in a place where we could easily wrap it up, but if anybody has more RP they want to do, then we're quite happy to, you know, extend the stream for that purpose.
I mean, I've just been given, I don't even know how much strong liquor
Yeah.
Like
To
a small glass.
to a tiny druid
Mm-hmm.
who has never had alcohol before.
You want to make a con save real quick, just to see how that goes?
Yeah. Okay, let's see. I should be relatively good at these.
So you're going to roll terribly.
So I'm gonna roll a nat 1 like I did last time. Oh no. Actually, I take it like a champ. That's 21.
Yeah, you're fine. It's like, oh, this drink feels weird as it goes in.
That didn't taste very well.
People like this?
Yeah, just put it on the table.
That was a good stuff too. Not yours, not for you. That's okay. I can get you some juice if you want. Okay, I will get her some juice.
There is no juice.
Do you have anything else?
Dwarf-themed
that is-
bar. It's just ale. It's part of the theme.
Can I-
There's whiskey as
can I
well,
get some-
because sometimes dwarves like to put that in their ale.
That's very racist of you.
No, it's not. Because
Because
I created the damn world, so that's just how it is for every dwarf, Shelley. That's how this works.
Drink all of them.
Do they like whiskey and
Only
like
no ale. That's
No,
never
they
ale.
only, in dwarf-themed bars, there is only ale and whiskey because
Yeah.
of stereotypes, Shelley. So the thing that you're annoyed at me about is actually the reason for it being there. Because
Featherin
it's a
goes
themed
out
bar.
To,
It's the people who
to
are
anything else than the dwarf themed bar.
Okay.
Buy some juice.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
get-
it's a little later in the day now,
Oh,
so...
And there's tea for Steve.
Sorry?
There's tea for Steve. Because he had tea before.
I
and
assumed
has
he was
tea
making
now.
his own.
Yeah, I'm a big guy. I got a lot of pockets.
Yeah.
Um,
Like you have a lot
You
of
guys are
real estate on
travelers.
your-
Like, if there's something you like, I just assume you have a bunch of it with you, because that's what it's like when you go traveling. Like I always travel with like a sack of tea bags.
think Brit on
So-
holiday.
Featherin is gone for 15 minutes, comes back with like a glass of OJ.
Sure,
There
easy
you
enough.
go. Feeling better.
You don't think about the 3 guys that chased you through the street trying to get the glass back, but you evaded them
ditched
really
them.
easily. It was
Yeah.
fine, but
Yes, a bit. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You know, if anybody wants to talk about the experience we just had, I'm willing to listen. I feel fine for some reason.
The lessons will keep us safe. It wasn't him. It wasn't him. It wasn't directly from him. The lessons, they
Very
would.
disorienting gap minute in my memory and
Yeah.
just her voice go repeating. Think knowledge will keep you safe.
Yes,
Terrible.
yes. Knowing keeps you safe.
Oh, I hope it's gone
knowing
by
will keep
tomorrow.
you safe.
Well, you're certainly a dick.
Well,
Didn't like that. You were all pretty frozen for a minute there.
did you see anyone else do anything? You're talking like you wasn't frozen with us. I mean, you.
Yeah, I wasn't. There was a feeling that kind of feels like in training when somebody tries to, get you to stop moving for a while, so to get you to stun you. And I just trained a lot, so it kind of felt like that, but not on the bodily side, but more like in my mind. But after that was gone, it was fine. I didn't really freeze, but you lot seemed out of it, actually. And then I talked to the guy a little bit. He seemed a little clueless.
It wasn't
Except
him.
for his knowledge is power, knowledge is no, I'm the best, and yeah. Imagine myself saying a lot of swear words because I don't like him, and it doesn't seem like whatever he said is actually something that resonated with any of you, and for some reason you're obsessed with it now.
Knowing keeps you safe.
See?
And on that note, I think we're going to end.
Yeah.
Uh,
I just
That
caught
bit-
trips.
That better be the title
I
of the next
picture.
session.
It's now his profile picture on Discord, which is just terrible. Like, it's not even close to fitting in that circle.
no, it's not. But there's only so much I can do.
All right.
Knowing keeps you safe.
Knowing keeps you safe. How does everyone feel about this week?
I wish I knew. I could have stayed safe.
That was a fun, breezy session up until the end there.
Yeah, out of nowhere,
That's
psychic
great.
damage.
Oh, listen.
If you had given me any if you had given me any indication of having taken damage there, it would have been Pete Metal all the way. That would have been so bad.
Yeah, no, as
For
far as
us.
you're aware, you're just
Yeah.
like just tired. Yeah. What can I say? There's more than meets the eye.
Ba-dum.
Oh.
And on that note, we should probably end the stream. Thank you for watching this week of Lessons to be Learned, the
Yeah.
new campaign from
Oh,
Trials of the Wild.
yes.
This was episode 2, The Parade. You can
Join us next time.
yeah, we have a YouTube and everything, so please,
Make sure hit
subscribe
those
there and
buttons.
whatnot. Yeah, hit all the buttons. I'm assuming that, if anybody watches this,
And
it's probably
share
like
and stuff.
5 years' time, so enjoy flying around in your Teslas, people.